Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I want to talk to you about three main subjects today. Number one is the dangerous attacks in Yemen. Number two, the in denial mode in Gaza and what's happening and why are they doing it, the lies that they're spreading. And the third one is a report about the IDF exercising in the West Bank against Israeli settlers, which caused outrage in Israel. I'll start off with Yemen. So we had retaliation from Yemen yesterday. They attacked Israel. They attacked al-Rashrash with ballistic missiles and UAVs, and they continue to focus their attacks on their main enemy. They want to attack Israel because they're committing a genocide. They're still defending themselves from the British and US attacks, but they're focusing on their main task. Today we had a very dangerous attack from the British and American forces in Yemen. They attacked the Al-Hudaydah province in an area that is very highly populated and that is also a tourist area. This is very dangerous because previously they used to state that they have targeted attacks in Yemen against locations that were used to launch missiles from. Now, Ansarullah in Yemen, they confirmed that some of the locations that the British and Americans attack were already used and are no longer in use. But today, we saw live images of them attacking highly populated areas. This could be a very dangerous escalation because if they're going to start targeting civilians, we're going to be talking about potentially a different retaliation from Yemen, and potentially it could lead the whole region to a different route altogether. With regards to Israel, we're seeing a lot of details, a lot of reports on mainstream media in Israel about how they are dismantling Hamas. I mean, the defense minister came up with an outrageous claim, and they had an article about it in Yedi'ot Ahronot website in Israel as well. What did he say? He said that they dismantled 20 out of 24 Hamas military brigades. 20 out of 24. And I mean, I'm not sure if the guy was joking or really you don't know what to take seriously and what not anymore, because, you know, we know that they're pathological liars. Israeli leaderships, Israel as a country, pathological liars. As a matter of fact, they're ultra pathological liars, because the scientific term behind a pathological liar is someone who lies at least 5 times a day for 6 consecutive months. And you're talking about a country that's been lying hundreds of times a day for the past 100 years. That's a new definition of a pathological liar. You can come up with a name yourself. Feel free to share it in the comment section below. 20 out of 24. On the same day that he declared that, this man, we saw videos of the Palestinian resistance in every location, any primary interaction location in Gaza, attacking them. Today we saw Al-Qassam Brigades releasing videos of them attacking the support lines of the IDF before they even try and enter the western part of Khan Yunis. Saraya al-Quds, the armed wing of the PIJ, using handmade produced weapons, shooting at Israeli soldiers all across of Gaza. What are these people talking about? But apparently there's something very interesting. One of the military analysts in Yedi'ot Ahronot, he said that in accordance to the IDF, if the IDF affects the organizational structure of a brigade or of a unit with Hamas, this means that they did their job with it. So here's the definition for you. So if you attack some sort of organizational structure, which can be defined and interpreted in 1 million ways, that means you've done your job. So this is how they calculate how many brigades they dismantle in Gaza. We also saw a video published by the IOF about a Palestinian, apparently in Khan Yunis, one of the Hamas members, this is what they claimed, coming at them, shouting, and trying to stab them. I mean, do you have any better propaganda than this, really? A Hamas member in Gaza, running, obviously they blurred his face, right? And they showed themselves shooting and taking him down, but even the image of them shooting was blurred. Why are they doing this? Since the beginning of this war, they've been looking for an image of victory. The attempts to gain an image of victory are accelerated at a max level at the moment, because we potentially can be reaching a deal at any point in the next few days once they get the full Hamas confirmation, response, guideline, comment on whatever happened in Paris and the proposal in Paris, and they might need to make an agreement very, very soon. So they need to show some sort of an image of victory that we've been talking about ever since the beginning of this war. They're accelerating these attempts. So you have the heads now saying these things. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu was already talking about a victory a few days ago. Now Gallant is saying 20 out of 24. And we still see everything on the ground every single day. Fierce, brave resistance from the Palestinians in every single location, targeting soldiers, gatherings, bases, tanks, bulldozers, soldier carriers, everything. Yet despite all of that, they think they can fool people and tell them that we dismantled 20 out of 24 units from Hamas. Are you kidding me? Seriously. And I don't know who believes this person. Clearly, most Israelis are not taking any of this, by the way. The situation in Israel is dire at the moment, is awful. We've had a report that on last Sunday, there were 30,000 Israelis leaving Israel from Ben Gurion Airport only on Sunday. I spoke about how many Israelis left previously. I'll repeat it again. By the end of November 2023, and this was published in zman.co.il website in Hebrew, and it was based on the Central Bureau of Statistics information, and they stopped releasing that information, by the way. And by the way, this same Central Bureau for Statistics in Israel, they were already lying about the numbers of Israelis leaving since March. The Marker website in Israel, they already released an article about how they already lied about the numbers of Israelis leaving previously from the judicial reform. And that's from years before. You had people leaving. The judicial reform accelerated it. Now, if anyone is talking about mass immigration, it's in Israel. Up until the end of November, 1 million left only due to the war. This excluded the 1.2 million already permanently leaving Israel previously, excluding their descendants, that Israel, by the way, includes in their demographic statistics in Israel as Jewish Israelis living in Israel. And they stopped publishing statistics ever since. This information, the people released it from the Ben Gurion stats. But they haven't been saying anything since the end of November. I came with a limited calculation, an assumption that approximately 300,000 further Israelis left by the end of December. But this is a very humble calculation, really. I mean, if you're talking about 30,000 in one day, and now when we're about to potentially reach a deal, imagine how many people could have left previously. And there's a lot of censorship, and the Statistics Bureau isn't releasing more information ever since that information was published on mainstream, not even mainstream media. This website is not very famous, by the way. You need to look for these things. But they stopped releasing this information. And there's outrage in Israel about an exercise that the IDF conducted in the West Bank. So the IDF carried out an exercise, and in one of the exercises they were training on attacking Israeli settlers who kidnapped Palestinians. Okay? Outrage. The Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, he said that this is legitimizing the blood spilling of Israeli settlers, and it's a demonization campaign, and people should be held to account and along those lines. And also his very close ally, Bezalel Smotrich, also said that the commander-in-chief basically needs to resign. Both Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich are blaming the heads of the IDF for this training and the fact that they are taking into consideration the potential of the IDF attacking Israeli settlers. This is not new, by the way. They previously did this before, and Smotrich confirmed this. But this highlights where things could be going. Before this war, I spoke about this in one of my previous videos, during the judicial reform, because the judicial reform really started building up tensions and it started boiling the civil society in Israel, and a civil war was becoming ever more probable and ever more likely to happen. Back then, the Golani Brigade was in a location in the West Bank, and they had a fight that was recorded with a brigade called Netzach Yehuda, the Eternity of Judea. This is the same brigade that's part of Kfir, the division that they deployed in Gaza after they withdrew Golani, who's traditionally a very old division that was established since the beginning, since the establishment of Israel, whereas Kfir is very new and it includes brigades that were only formed in the late 90s. That's the oldest one of them, and they're only used to bullying people in the West Bank, attacking civilians, attacking kids, harassing people, and protect lunatic settlers in the West Bank that constantly attack Palestinians, kill them, abuse them, steal their belongings, attack their houses, all sorts. And this is causing a lot of problems and a further distrust between the Israeli leadership. Now they're feeling, the ultra-right wing, that there could potentially be a new government and they might be forced out, and the army is potentially preparing for a rebellion within certain groups in the Israeli army. And this is a very dangerous escalation, especially during a time of war. You're not talking about any normal day. There's war in Gaza. And the criticism of Ben-Gvir and Smotrich was also similar. You know, there's a war. How can you do that now? But it's clearly hinting where the IDF thinking is going to. They need to prepare themselves for a potential revolt from within. And if such a revolt happens, it needs to be dealt with very, very quickly, because during this war we had infighting. And many of this infighting wasn't released. We had people fleeing the war in the beginning, 2000, and their commanders, and they were dismissed. People swearing at Netanyahu, Israeli soldiers, when he went to the Gaza region in the beginning of the war. Soldiers didn't want to see him. But Israel conceals most of this through its very, very harsh military censorship that most Israelis are aware of. I mean, hardly anyone with half a brain is believing the mainstream narrative inside of Israel. That's why people are fleeing the country. They have no faith in the future of the state of Israel. And these were the main things that I wanted to talk to you about today. And I'll hopefully see you soon in the next video. Take care.